Hey, what's up? This is your host from Self Mastery Sessions. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Today, we're going to talk about creating goals and achieving them. Hope you guys are going to enjoy this episode. If you have any questions, leave it down in the comments. Make sure you check out the resources, leave a like, subscribe, feed the algorithm. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. See you on the field.
All right, so this is on.
We're on.
And we're live. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Self Mastery Session. Thank you for tuning in on another Saturday. Beautiful day, of course. I can't give you guys the weather. Like, come on, it's a beautiful day. Just believe us. Today is it was a really good episode in the making. You know, we had a lot of inputs from a lot of different people, and we created this episode. It was really curated. This episode is kind of our little baby, so we're really happy to present it to you guys. So we're going to talk about setting and achieving goals. The reason why goals are so important is because it's the gap between your current self and your future self. So your future self is your goal, and you want to get there. And the reason why you should listen to us is because, listen, we've been stagnant basically all of our lives. So we haven't had any progress until we actually started goal setting. When you have the FTE and you actually start setting goals for yourself, well, this is the moment you try to become a better version of yourself. So today we're going to get into that. We're going to get into why goal setting is so important and how to achieve them, how to get to them. So,
and on the note of being stagnant, something I've totally hilarious. At the beginning of every single year in school, everybody says, oh, this year I'm going to work hard. This year I'm going to get the good grades. You know, it could be Sec 4, which is like a very important grade. It could be Sec 5, which is also very important, which is the final year of high school. People are going to be like, okay, this year I'm going to work hard. I'm going to get it. They say all this stuff in September. So they set a goal, right? They've set the goal that let's say I've heard somebody literally said this. I'm going to study 2 hours every single day. He said that in September. Where is he now? Not studying 2 hours a day.
Studying 2 hours a day.
But that's so sad. Like, imagine setting a goal and then not achieving it. Imagine wanting to become somebody else, but just not achieving it due to a lack of action or a lack of knowledge, which is something I'm going to touch on later. Imagine wanting to be another person, not in a bad way, like wanting to be a better version of yourself, but not being able to change because you just don't know how.
And then you use that as coping, like, oh, that's not me. I'm not that guy. No,
I'm not the studious kind. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Exactly. So a few things I want you guys to know before. There's this really beautiful quote from Warren Buffett. If you guys don't know Warren Buffett, he's the owner of Berkshire Hathaway. He's been trading stocks for basically all his life. He's one of the world's biggest investor. He's one of the richest men on earth.
He's like the fourth richest man on earth.
And he said something that inspired me a long time ago, but it's still to this day, is you can do anything, but you can't do everything. So the reason why it's important that you set goals and you set clear objectives, well, is because you truly can achieve everything. In life, nothing can stop you but your mind. So if you want to do something, you definitely can do it. And this is why humans succeed so great in this nature of ours. Well, humans are the first creature to think about something and make it happen. And this is why I think humans are such a beautiful creature, because a squirrel is going to wander around trying to survive. But we think, we create ideas, and we make them happen into the real world. And this is why we have cities now.
Yeah, and on that, I have a little story from actually yesterday as we were making the script for this podcast, right? So we're in a little coffee shop in Ottawa. We were a couple of boys, and we were talking over the script, trying to make it improve. And in the distance, there's dumpsters, and there's a squirrel trying to get inside the dumpster. Mm-hmm. And Arnaud stops the whole conversation. And he says, dudes, look at the squirrel. And we're like, what? And he's like, that squirrel is there trying to fetch some food. He's trying to enter the dumpster, which both doors are closed on it. So he's trying to go in. He's trying to survive. He's trying to find some food. And we're sat here in a fucking coffee shop. We got a car to come here. We built all these things. I mean, this building is bricks. Where the fuck did you get bricks from in the first place?
Turn that shit from
You came here in a car, fucking combustion engine. You can truly do anything, right? That same night, we were looking out over the whole city. We saw all the bright lights. It was like fucking midnight. And it's like, you can do anything, but you can't build the whole city by yourself. You can't do everything.
Exactly. So this is a beautiful thing from Warren Buffett. And another thing I want you guys to know, I want you guys to understand what a goal is. So, you know, when you play this little game, I know a lot of you guys probably played this game because we know our audience, okay? There's this game called Cookie Clicker. When you start playing the game, well, you click a cookie. you click for every cookie. And your goal was to make as many cookies as possible. So how do you do that? Well, you can buy some industry, or you can buy
Grandmas.
grandmas
You can
literally
literally buy grandmas.
to make more cookies per minute. So when you start the game, your goal is to make cookies. And you start with only 1 cookie per minute, but your goal is to have unlimited cookies. So when you play that game, you know the clear path. You know exactly what you need to do. And this is why we want to deliver this episode to you, because we want to give you guys a clear path towards getting to your goal.
And yet again, in Cookie Clicker, like you just said, you know the clear path. So the only thing that's going to make you not achieve it is not play the game.
Is literally stop playing. So it's the same thing with the gym, with business, or with school. When you start something, the only thing that's going to stop you is you.
You can
Now-
only lose if you stop playing. If you keep rolling the dice, if you genuinely try your best, you can never fail.
Exactly. Well, for people who have gambling addiction, please don't take this advice. Really don't take this. The solution is to stop playing, okay? But for any other aspects of life, you know, the gym, business, or starting a podcast, for God's sake, well, keep playing, keep rolling the dice, and see where life takes you. So we can jump into this episode. Now that you guys know what a goal is,
Yes.
clarified.
So now that we know what a goal is, I want to first start off by saying, why should you even care about goals, right? Well, I'm going to teach you a little something. So the audience watching our podcast, you're primarily, like, I think even 100%, all males, right? Oh, no, there's a couple of chicks.
There are.
But you're primarily all males, right? And you're males, you're our age, so you might be from age 14 to 20, right?
Yep.
It's about the age range we're in. And the one thing you need to know is that the masculine grows through challenge. And challenge inevitably leads to you succeeding at a certain goal. And so that we can get from that the masculine grows through goal setting and achieving those goals, right? The masculine is very goal driven. You know this. If you imagine the average archetype, where do I have a fucking mosquito in my face? Imagine the average archetype of a man. He would be a very goal striving person. At least he was masculine, and that's the only thing that's gonna make you fulfilled.
Exactly.
The days in which you wake up early, you do exactly what you had to do for that day. You wake up, you record this podcast. Afterwards, I'm going to go make the resources for this exact podcast. Then I'm going to start planning out the second episode. After that, I'm going to go hit the gym. Then after that, I have work. Today is going to be a very fulfilling day because I'm going to do a bunch of stuff that's conducive to my goals. If I was to wake up and watch Netflix, I'm not achieving anything, and I would not be happy, because once you start getting into that role where you realize that you are a masculine person, you want to achieve more with your life, then you will never be fulfilled if you're not achieving goals constantly. Right?
Beautiful. And we're going to get a few quotes from The Way of the Superior Man. For people who haven't read the book yet, go do it. Literally, it's worth more than watching this episode. We're going to talk a lot about it probably in this episode, but yeah, it's going to be phenomenal. So you want to jump into your analogy?
Oh, yeah.
Of
Okay.
course.
So I had an analogy for this whole episode.
And I will actually put the image up this time, because the image is actually really important.
Yeah, last time you forgot
I
putting the image. Okay.
Last 2 episodes.
So imagine it's somewhere here in between us, okay? So you have Earth. I'm pointing at nothing, but
Yeah.
there's Earth, right? Earth is your current self. Earth has its own atmosphere, okay? And that atmosphere houses air, which is resistance. All of this is held together by gravity, which is your current beliefs pulling everything towards your current self. The rocket is your becoming self. There's a rocket right there. The rocket is your becoming self, thrusted by drive that manifests through purpose, discontentment, and your primary motivators. This process is painful. We'll get into it later. The star is your goal, a vision of a new self with its own atmosphere, also held together by gravity, which is your new beliefs, traits, and skills. This process goes through time. In the beginning, to take off from your current self out into space to escape the gravitational pull of the Earth through resistance in the air, through your current beliefs pushing you down, you need some big ass goddamn engines. You know, rockets have some big ass engines. But then once you escape Earth's gravitational pull, once you're out into space, afterwards it becomes effortless.
All you need is the little thrusters.
All you need is little thrusters just to redirect yourself. And this is true for physics, and this is true for goals. Because let's just say, for example, like this today, right now, was not difficult for me. I woke up. I had made the script all week. I loved making the script.
Yeah.
I'm here. I set up the cameras. I set up this whole space. I got ready. I got on the flow of things, and now I'm recording this. This is effortless.
Yep.
Why? Because I thrusted myself so hard. I went through so much pain, which To grow, you need to go through pain. We still go through pain right now,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a good thing. We'll talk about it later. But this has become effortless now. And so this also gives you hope. You might be thinking to yourself that you need to be David Goggins Batman every day.
Batman.
You don't need to. Okay, look, in the beginning, yes, it will be difficult. It's gonna be like running in the fucking winter. You want to die. But after a bit, this does become effortless. I promise you. Going to the gym, like we said many times, for us is a treat. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's like the cake of the day. That's how it's gonna become for you too if you follow this advice.
Exactly.
And so, how does one take aim? How does one set that star in the sky?
So, one thing that's very important is, well, the star. What is the star? It's what you want out of life. For example, I want to get better gains at the gym. One thing that we discussed yesterday on our beautiful conversation, I did my last powerlifting segment, but my goal wasn't necessarily just to get more weight. The goal was to get more weight safer so I can do this for a longer time. So the star is not just like throwing weights around because it's fun. You know, we're young, we're men, and we like to bully the weights, basically. But the goal was to get it safer. So that's my goal. I didn't even realize it was until the conversation yesterday. And then, who do you want to become? I started a new inquiry in the sales industry, and well, what are my goals with that? Well, it's to get to the future self that I want to be. The future self is I am a good salesman. If I'm in the future, in 12 years from now, I'm a good salesman. I make money. I know the insurance industry. So what do you want to become out of life? Also, I think you should get into this one.
Mm-hmm.
Get into point C, pessimistic, realistic time frame.
Just before that, I also want you guys to understand something. You don't actually set a goal. Goals are not a tangible thing. If I set a goal of benching 135 pounds on bench press, right, in the gym, the goal is pretty intangible, right? It's like, what am I actually doing? Well, I'm taking my hands and putting them on the bar and I'm pushing it. But who is doing that? Well, not me, because let's just say in that reality, I couldn't. So it's not me. It's the future person. It's the future JP. It's my future self that can do that. It's the guy with more muscle mass. It's the guy who's stronger. It's the guy who's been disciplined with the gym. It's the guy who's been consistent, who's been eating right. He's been sleeping right. He's the guy who's going to be able to do those numbers. And that's the thing you need to understand. You do not set goals. You set a vision. You set a future version of yourself. If I set a goal of this podcast, let's say to get 4,000 watch time, which is like actually a goal we have. 4,000 watch time. I can't get for 5,000 watch time. I don't know YouTube well enough. I don't know podcasting well enough. I don't make good enough podcasts yet. Because the person, the JP who does have 4,000 watch time, knows all this stuff. So I can't do it right now. And my goal is not 4,000 hours of watch time. My goal is to become the person who has those 4,000 hours of watch time. That's the differentiating factor. I'm not looking at YouTube analytics trying to make the bar go up. I'm looking at myself in the goddamn mirror being like, why can't you get that bar to go up?
Exactly.
Because in life, the constraint is always yourself. Like I said, the fucking combustion engine we took to get to that coffee shop, the only thing that limited the guy who made that car was his own mind. Because look, if you got all the scrap metal, then what's limiting you?
The scrap. Yep.
It's your
So,
mind.
pessimistic, realistic time frame. Fill the present. And one little quote from Alex Ramosi is unreasonable inputs.
Yes.
Explain that.
So, in the beginning, when we were first making this episode, I decided that I didn't want our goals to have time frames, because when you have a time frame, usually people are first overly optimistic with their time frame, and second of all, it makes you able to fail the goal. And failing is the one thing that will demotivate you as fuck. But what hit me was that, well, it's kind of good.
Yeah.
Because you want to be able to fail. You want to be able to understand that there is a reality in which you don't achieve your goal. There is a reality, which is your current one, where you don't even have your goal currently, or else it wouldn't be a goal, right? And so this is very, very important. You need to set a pessimistic, realistic time frame, but really focus on filling the present instead. So let's give an example. When I first began the gym, I wanted to bench 225 pounds in a year. Yeah. Anybody who lifts weights understands that is usually very unrealistic for beginners. Now, there are some freaks of nature that we go to school with. You might also be watching. You're a freak of nature, by the way. Like, you know who you are. But for most people, myself included, that would be totally unrealistic. It's basically impossible, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if I was to set myself that time frame and then I'd get to a year then and not have achieved it because it's practically impossible, then I would have been disappointed. I would have demotivated and stuff. And so this is the issue with time frames. You want to set one, but you want to be pessimistically realistic with it, okay? So don't say you'll bench 225 pounds in 10 years, because it does not take 10 years. But if you say 2 years or 3 years, now there's a real challenge.
Yeah.
Now this is a real time frame that you can stick to, that you can reverse engineer the actions
Yeah.
to, that you can find how to actually get there. So you should 100% set a time frame, but please do not be overly optimistic. But do not be overly pessimistic either, okay? Don't say, oh, I'll be a millionaire in 40 years.
Yeah.
Unless you don't care about being a millionaire, which then you wouldn't even be setting that goal.
Yeah.
But be very, very careful with setting time frames, because then you are actually very, very accountable to that. And if you fail, you will lose all motivation to work towards your goal. So set a time frame, but focus on filling in the present. And to find what's realistic, look at others around you, but of course, look at your own situation, right? We're not all the same. You might even have an edge on other people. You might have some good genetics. I know this guy started the gym, and what is it? In the first year, you were doing 225?
Yep. Yeah,
in the first year. So what is usually very, very unrealistic for beginners, he was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
He put in the hard work, of course, but he started off at a higher playing field than I did.
Of course.
And so you need to look at everybody else and then analyze yourself, compare it to that, and then figure out what would be a realistic time frame.
Mm-hmm.
But if your goal is to get, let's say, 95% on the math exam coming up for us in school, or any other exam, that one, the time frame is basically the day of the exam, right? So
can't change that one.
And so then it would be more of a process goal. Your goal would be more to like study 2 hours a day, as opposed to the goal being getting 95, although they're correlated together.
Of course. So that was the two distinctions also between two goals. There's, the actual goal and
Outcome goal and process goal.
And process goal, exactly. One thing that we need you guys to understand is that goals can change and they evolve. Goals are basically like Pokemon. They evolve and they change through time because, excuse me, there are different inputs and outputs, and your current beliefs change. Since you learn every day, your goals can change. So let's say I hit the gym. We talk a lot about the gym because this is what we know, right? But let's say I hit the gym, and like you said, my goal is to hit 225, but then you realize that hitting 225 is not really that important. I mean, if you go in the real world and you tell people, I bench 225, most people really don't care. So it's really personal with you. But the distinction, exactly like I said with my powerlifting week, I wanted to hit that number, but safer.
Mm-hmm.
So goals can change through time, and sometimes you can achieve a goal and you didn't realize the actual
what you were actually aiming for.
What you were actually aiming for, which was to bench the weight safer without getting injured. So you can do this for a longer time and be more optimal about it. Mm-hmm. So your goals can evolve through time, and they will change. And the goal you set a year ago, let's face it, is going to be completely different from the goal you have right now, even if it's an outcome goal or a process goal. Mm-hmm. So,
and I could give a couple of examples for that.
Yes, of course.
So let's say I didn't do this, but let's say the first goal I set with this podcast was to have 1 million views. Let's just say that. When you start optimizing for views, it kind of gets dirty in the YouTube algorithm. Absolutely. You're going to start doing a lot more clickbait, a lot more flashy titles. The video, you might start even adding editing to the podcast. You might even add images flashing on the screen, stuff like that, animations. And so it gets very, very dirty for you to just get more views. Whilst when you focus on watch time, which is what I focused on from the start. What if I didn't? Then that would be my goal evolving as my understanding deepens. Mm-hmm. Focusing on watch time is much better. Yeah, because somebody watching the whole thing means that it was valuable the whole way through. If it wasn't valuable, it was entertaining. But since we make educational content, that means it was valuable the whole time through. And so that is a much, since our purpose is to teach you guys, it is a much better goal than just views, just clicks. Because then you just become a whore for fucking clicks.
Yeah, exactly. And if we actually wanted clicks and we wanted views, there are some nuisance YouTubers, like you said, that's the way to say it, like people who do pranks. That gets millions of views, but they're disturbing society, literally. Their whole goal is to be a menace to society. If we wanted views, we can get views, but our goal is to provide value. And since it's in line with our purpose to make our audience grow and become a better version of themselves, well, we're not trying to get views. We're not trying to get clicks. We're really trying to get seconds of value. So yeah, no, that was question one.
And
very fulfilling. We
also,
can jump. Yeah, go ahead.
we can give an example. Let's say so if you guys have ever ran outside with no actual goal. So your goal is not to run a 5K. Your goal is not to run a 2K. Your goal is just to go outside and run.
Mm-hmm.
What you might start doing if you're smart, you start running and then you say, okay, I'm gonna run until the red car. And then once I'm at the red car, I'm gonna start walking. And then as you get closer to the red car, what do you say to yourself? You say, oh no, I'm gonna run until the stop sign.
Yeah.
So then you run a little bit longer. And then you're like, no, now I'm going to run until I turn left. And then you turn left. And then you're like, no, okay, now to the yellow car. And now guess what? You went from the red car to the yellow car. You've just done another 500 meters of you running. Fantastic. And goals should be the same, okay? You can never set a goal and just be like, okay, I achieved it. All right, now we're done. Vacation. That's not how it works, okay? As you approach your goal, you postpone it faster. And now you might be saying to yourself, well, when do I get to celebrate? You can celebrate. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying is that if you set a goal, achieve it, and then don't set another one, you're as bad as the person who never set a goal in the first place. You're both equally as lost.
And excuse me, one thing I want our audience to understand is you need to, because you talk about celebrating, you need to understand micro wins. You have, like we had in our discussion yesterday, you have little things during the process towards getting to your goal that bring to your win. So when you look at personal training, if you do a personal training course, they put a lot of emphasis on micro wins, because let's say you want to lose 30 pounds, like you're morbidly obese and you're trying to lose 30 pounds. Well, when you're going to get, if the only time you celebrate is when you get to, you lost 30 pounds, the chances that you achieve this goal are so much lower because you don't actually get rewarded for it.
That's true.
Because humans, we need either negative feedback or positive feedback. If you get negative feedback, you'll be like, oh shit, I need to fix this. And if you get positive feedback, then you're like, okay, let's keep going on this track. If what you're doing right now is working for you, then keep it up. But if it's not, well, how do you know if you don't have wins to celebrate it? So that's why you need to understand micro wins, and every time through the process you have a little improvement. Like that's why there's like achievements on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
We get our little achievements when we see our excuse me, my voice. We get little achievements on our YouTube dashboard. It's like, oh, you just hit 500 total views. Oh, you got 10 subscribers. Like, it's micro wins. We wouldn't even think about those. I didn't even think like 10 subscribers was a milestone until YouTube decided that it was. So that was like a micro win. It's like, oh, we got 10 subscribers.
And guess what? You open the YouTube
views.
dashboard and there's a bunch of confetti flying everywhere. And then you're like, oh shit, should I be happy then?
Yeah, should I be happy?
It's like, oh goddamn, 10 subscribers. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. So micro wins is going to get you to your process because you you can actually identify what's working. And that's why some people are like, oh yeah, you shouldn't weigh yourself. It's unhealthy for your body image. You should weigh yourself every day, because then you know if you're working, if what you're doing is working. If you're trying to lose 30 pounds and every day you weigh yourself, it's like, okay, I'm a little lighter today. Yes, let's keep going on this path. If you're like, oh shit, I'm way heavier today, then you did something wrong. You need to stop doing whatever that was. That's the negative feedback. And the positive feedback is when you lose that weight.
And using weight is actually a great way to, it's a great metaphor for other things. Because if you ever tracked your weight before, you'll realize that one day you're going to eat perfectly clean, but for some reason you're going to weigh more.
Yep.
And another day you're going to eat some goddamn fucking McDonald's
Yeah.
and they're going to weigh less. And you'll be like, what the fuck is this? Well, it's because it's a lot more complicated than just what you ate that day, right? There's so many more factors that go into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so this is why when you track your weight on a very short period of time, you're going to be like, why the fuck does it fluctuate so much? And this is why you need to look into bigger data sets. Okay, so don't track your weight every day, but don't get emotional every day about it.
No.
Track your weight every day, but look at the progress throughout the week, or throughout 2 weeks, or throughout the goddamn month, for all I care.
Put up a graph. Seriously.
Put up a graph, and then you're gonna see, okay, well, one day it went up, down, up, down, up, down. But then when you look at it, the tendency of all of it is that, okay, whoom, it went down. You lost some weight. And look into bigger data sets. If you set a goal that you're gonna bench a certain amount in the gym, or let's say your goal is that you're gonna go to the gym 6 times this week. Let's just say your goal is that. If 1 week you go 6 times, the other week you go 3, and then after that you go 6 and you go 6, your average is not 6. You're not achieving your goal. Your average is like 4.5 if we were to sum it up all together. And so there's micro wins, but there's also micro losses. It's like that week you went 3 times, you kind of fucked up. And now your average is fucked up. And you need to keep going 6 times for then your average to go up from 4.5 to 5 to 5.5 to then it'll actually be up to like 5.9 because it won't be at 6 exactly. And then micro win. Boom. You've been going 2 weeks in a row. That's when you can celebrate.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's micro wins and there's micro losses.
Yeah. Positive and negative feedback. It's that simple. There's a lot of research about it. Negative feedback actually is really, really powerful. And through research, actually, this one study conducted by the U.S. Air Force, they gave a set of pilots more negative feedback, and they give the other set of pilots more positive feedback. And in the exercise they were performing, the team with the negative feedback actually performed better at the end. Mm-hmm. So negative feedback is good. When you get that negative feedback, when you see yourself like not doing well this week, then you need to fix it, and the fix you'll do will probably be better on the long term. And also, one thing you said is you won't get emotional about it if you weigh yourself every day. This can apply to a lot of things. Like, let's say to the stock market. When you look at the stock market and you have your portfolio, if one day it goes down a bit, but every day you check, you're like, oh, it's not that bad. Like, if it's on a longer period, if it's like the whole month your stocks went down, now you know something's happening. But don't get emotional about it. Not that your goals are not important. Like, there are an emotional part to it, but if you don't get emotional about it, it makes yourself more objective about it, and you can input fixes way easier. Mm-hmm. So, action step for the second question. I want you to take out a pen and paper or a Notion page, whatever you want, and write down 3 goals max. Nothing more than that. 3 goals with a realistic time frame.
And the less goals you're going to write down, the better, right?
Yep.
Like, if you write one goal that is so big, so massive, so all-encompassing that you have no choice but to work fucking hard in every single sphere of your life to achieve it, then great. Let's say I set the goal of getting 1 million subscribers in the next 4 years of this podcast. Then I can't slack in the gym. Then I can't slack on my wake-up time. I can't slack in my diet. I didn't set the goal to eat clean. I didn't set the goal to work out 6 hours a week. I didn't set the goal to wake up and go to bed at the same time every day. Mm-hmm. I just set the goal of 1 million subscribers, and I'm like, oh, fuck. I need to work, motherfucker.
Yep.
And it's all-encompassing. So the less goals you write down, the better. But examples of goals could be very simple. It could be in your sports. What if you want to be the captain of your team? Or maybe you want to go to another club where you're going to be, yes, the worst guy there, but that's how you grow. You never want to be the smartest person in the room. Mm-hmm. Same thing applies with sports. You never want to be the strongest guy anywhere. You never want to be the fastest guy in any running club. You never want to be the best soccer player in any soccer club. You always want to be the worst there, because then you're going to be growing. This is a little bit on a tangent. But I totally lost. Yes, set 3 goals and make them as much as you can all-encompassing.
Mm-hmm. So, second question. All of these questions, by the way, relate to our analogy. So the first one related to the star. What is the star? Well, it's the goal that you set. And now we're going to talk about thrust. Hope you guys get the analogy. I hope you guys get the
fire coming out.
If you don't, go watch like NASA documentaries about like how do rockets get to space. But why do you want to achieve said goal?
So you know how in the triangle of fire you have oxygen, you have a comburant, so let's just say wood, and you have what is it in English?
So you have a combustible, a comburant, and you need the point of ignition.
And point of ignition, exactly. And so I took these 3 things from the triangle of fire and I set them into a self-improvement lens. And so the hating point, that's going to be you being discontent. Yeah. The fuel is your purpose, and what you will be burning is going to be your primary motivators. And so let's get into them. The first one, which we talk about all the freaking time, is purpose. Do you want to explain to the viewers what purpose is?
So purpose is your general guidance in life. So it takes a lot of reflection to figure out your purpose. And our audience are mostly teenage boys who are in high school. You probably are clueless to what your purpose is.
Same here. Yeah. Teenage boys in high school.
We think we know what it is, but the the fact that we have a clearer vision towards what our purpose is helps us work towards something. And maybe our purpose is even bigger than what we thought it was. But purpose is basically your goal in life. What do you want to achieve out of life? What do you want to get out of life? And let's say your goal for us, for example, is to help other people grow and achieve that growth mindset and grow with them. Be with them and grow as one. So that would be an example of a purpose. But just set a vision. Your purpose could be, I don't know, helping dogs, helping people who are disabled create machines so they can have better, hand-eye coordination or something like that. It can be really, really broad. But it is basically what you want to dedicate your life to. So the reason why you're in school right now, and you probably have no clue why you're here, and when you do your exams, you don't really care, and you get bad grades, and you're like, oh man, I need to work, but you don't actually know what you need to work for. It's because you don't know what your purpose is. You need to work towards that. What purpose is basically a goal.
And on that, so there's this person in our class. Please don't go harass them in real life if you figure out who it is. They get some amazing grades, and they study every day, but there's one problem. So this person's average daily routine is this. They get home, take a goddamn nap. Afterwards, they're going to watch some video games, watch some YouTube while they're eating for an hour and a half. Then they're going to play some video games for like 3 hours. And next thing you know, it's 9 p.m. And that person is going to study every single day from 9 p.m. till 11. So they're studying 2 hours. And then go to bed, wake up the next day at like 8 to go to school, right? That person gets a 95 on every single exam. Okay, he listens in class. He gets 95 on every single exams. But when you look into his actual daily life outside of school, he's barely trying. Studying 2 hours a day is not like this big feat, right? This person's barely trying, yet they're getting such great results. And so this is why purpose is so important. Because if you have no direction, if you have no reason why you're working, why you would work hard, then you won't. Okay? His goal is to get a good 95 on every single exam. Well, then he's going to barely study 2 hours and then get 95. And then can you blame him? Can you actually blame him? If he was to study 7 hours instead of 2, he would go from 95 to 98.
Yeah.
So what? Who freaking cares, right? And that is because there's no grander vision. There's no grander purpose. There's no actual meaning behind what he's doing. He's just getting the good grade to get the good grade. Probably because his parents told him so. Mm-hmm. There's no grander vision. And we're going to go right now into a quote from David Data. Never go against your deepest truth just to please someone. Okay? There's a person in our class, a whole other person. I hope you're watching this because I want to speak to you directly. You told us that you applied to be the program, whatever program people take to become dentists. You applied to that program in college, and you didn't get accepted. So you didn't get accepted from the program you want to go into to become a dentist. And we asked you, oh, well, why do you want to become a dentist? Because you really, really don't seem like the type of person that would be a dentist. And you said, oh, well, because my father wants me to be. What's your whole life about then? What is your whole life about then? If the only thing you care about is getting into that school, which you barely try in school, but the only thing you care about is getting to that program to please your dad, and you did not even get accepted, then what the fuck are you doing on earth? What the fuck is your purpose? I mean, I'm sorry. I probably apologize for being mean a little bit, but then what are you doing? What is your purpose? What is the meaning of your existence? If it is to apply to a program you don't give a fuck about just to make your dad happy and then getting rejected from that program.
And sorry to cut you off, but I like to say something a lot. I like to say this thing a lot. No pain is real until it sticks with you for the rest of your life. So if you want to do something to please your dad, I'm sorry, your dad's not going to be there forever. So once he's gone, well, who are you pleasing? No one. You're like, maybe if he had a legacy and stuff like that, you can still like, if you're spiritual in that sense, okay, I can understand that, but there's no goal. If you are working for someone who's going to die sooner than you, why do you want to do that? It's counterproductive. And if you guys are hearing all of these things about purpose and you're confused, you're like, how do I even get to finding my purpose? Because it's pretty straightforward. If you're like, oh, my dad wants me to become a dentist, and you're like, okay, it's straightforward. That's your goal. but that's an imposed goal. You need to be the one who sets your goal because you're going to be able to achieve it then. So if you are clueless to how to get purpose, I want you guys to go read The Way of the Superior Man. Like, as of right now, quit the episode. I know we are like, oh, we want a more watch time, but our real goal is to get you guys to become a better version of yourself. So if right now you're hearing all these things about purpose, and we've been talking about purpose all over these past episodes, and you're really like, I really don't know what my purpose is, go read The Way of the Superior Man. It will definitely clarify what is your actual purpose.
And just to tell you, so the straightforward advice is very simple. In order to find your purpose, you essentially just need to sit there for however long it takes. It could be an hour, it could be a week. And you just sit there and you just think and you keep asking yourself, what do I want out of life? What do I want to do? Who do I want to help? Why do I wake up in the morning? For who do I want to wake up in the morning? What do I want to do? And in the end, you'll get an answer. And the beginning of the year, I was trying to find the answer to that question. And I damn near went fucking crazy. Okay, I was thinking about it for like 3 weeks and a half, almost a whole month of every single day, just being so lost and confused and not knowing what I actually wanted to do out of life. Until at some point, I realized, and then I tried what I realized, which was I wanted to help people with self-movement. So I tried it out, and then I was like, yeah, that's what I like.
Exactly. And we talk about goals a lot. One thing that bothers me is people set very, very vague goals that are not aligned to a purpose. So like a lot of people are like, oh, I want to have financial freedom. What is financial freedom? What even is that? Like Charlie Morgan's financial freedom is your dream.
Being a billionaire. He wants to be a billionaire.
He wants to be a billionaire, but what your actual financial freedom could be is completely different from his. So what is financial freedom to you? If financial freedom means I can keep my current lifestyle, but I don't go to work, that's your financial freedom, then that's your goal. Don't set shallow goals like that. And The Way of the Superior Man actually talks about no purpose is related to money. Your purpose cannot be related to money. And JP told me that yesterday, and it did hit me. I'm like, okay. Because money is a tangible thing. It doesn't exist. What your purpose is something that exists.
It's very simple because let's just say some person, or I said this to you yesterday. Yeah. You said that your purpose might be to help other people make more money. And I was like, okay, well, if that was a drug dealer, would you help him? And he was like, and you said, no. I was like, but he's going to make more money. And you're like, oh, exactly. I get what you mean. Exactly. So what you care about is not the money. Mm-hmm. It's you want to better them. You want to better their lifestyle. You want to help them get better. And Through business. And that's just the vehicle you're using. Mm-hmm. Right? My goal here is not to make all you guys rich, but it might be his. Mm-hmm. But by making you rich, he's making every single sphere of your life go better. If you're a drug dealer, we would not help you. Matter of fact, we tell you to stop dealing drugs. Although that'd make you less money, the goal was not money in the first place. That was a facade.
Yeah, exactly. So don't set shallow. Your purpose takes so much reflection to actually find. And like you said, sit down in a room with absolutely zero distractions and just think. Think about your vision. Because young men nowadays never actually had time to think. You play video games, you go home, you watch YouTube, you scroll TikTok, you go eat, and then you go to bed. You never actually have time to think. Sitting at a wall, I think we said that in a previous episode, is more productive. Sitting and staring at a wall, is more productive than scrolling TikTok.
Most things you'll do. Very exactly. And finally, if I want to recommend a book that's very just dedicated simply on purpose, it is A Mastery by Robert Greene. Yeah. He doesn't say purpose. He says that your life's task, but the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful recommendation.
Yes, right. And so that is the first motivator. That's the fuel. Because purpose, you can burn it. You have an unlimited amount of it. It's the unlimited amount of fuel you have. Because no matter what, unless I need to transgress my standards or my morals, I will do whatever it takes for the purpose. And so it is a very, very strong pillar of the three motivators. Right? And so the second one is hitting point. It is discontentment. And I'm going to go on this one because what I find very funny. Yesterday, you said, JP, out of the two of us, you just seem angrier. And I was like, you're damn right.
on the whole fire thing, like, I guess you're going to have more comfort, I guess.
I think I'm just a little bit angrier than you are.
But motherfucker's always pissed, bro. He's always yelling at you guys like, come on, man.
You get bad cop, good cop. Yes, you're a good cop.
Yeah, exactly.
And so being discontent. So, sorry, you're going to have to put up an image on screen again.
Of course.
And so your behavior can be mapped out by a wavelength with a peak and a trough. And so I've said this on last episode. In the beginning, you're going to, and this can represent any behavior. So it can even be how clean your room is, right? So your room is going to be fine. It's going to be medium. And then your room is going to get pretty clean at some point because you're going to have cleaned it. And then, you're going to slip. You're going to slip in entropy, which entropy is like the universal law of like things decay with time.
Mm-hmm.
Entropy is going to happen. And then you're going to stop taking care of your room for a little bit. And then somebody you're going to be like, bro, this bitch dirty as fuck. And then, you're going to clean it. And then you go back on your best behavior, super clean room. And then in the following hours, days, weeks, months, your room gets dirty again. And this happens to absolutely everybody, right? So even myself, the other day, I cleaned my whole room again because it was just a little bit dirty. But my standards are so high now, which is exactly where I'm getting to. You are not the best version of yourself you can imagine. You are the worst version of yourself you can accept. You need to understand that you will do nothing to achieve your goals, but you will fight like hell to not transgress your standards.
Mm-hmm.
If your sanitary standard is that my room will not be dirtier than 2 clothes on my bed, then your room will never be more than 2 clothes on your bed. Because you would just feel so disgusted. It's as if you hadn't taken a shower in 3 weeks. It's the same feeling. You would just feel way too disgusted with yourself. And so by putting your standard higher, by putting that trough higher, you're then making the peak higher because they need to go in accordance of going up and down. And so the simplest way for you to right now get out of the situation you're in is to add fuel to add fire to the fucking fuel. You need to be discontent. You need to look at your arms. You need to look at your fucking stomach. And you need to realize, okay, I'm not as fat as the other guy, but who fucking cares? Am I okay with this? No, I'm not. Okay, bitch, I'm discontent. Mm-hmm. I'm angry then. I'm going to change. I'm going to do something. I'm going to take my standards. I'm going to put them higher. What do you mean I don't have a six-pack? It says on the first episode, the first step in self-improvement to me is being discontent. It is getting angry. It is adding fuel to the fire. It is like we talked about on the last episode, our friend that got a bad grade in math and then boom, got in his best behavior immediately. He went, fuck, bro, I got goals. I want to be a doctor. I want to help people. How the fuck am I getting this bad grade? Fuck. And then boom, he switched.
Exactly.
FTE. Fuck this event. He said, fuck this. And then he changed immediately. He altered his behavior by putting his standards higher. And that is what you need to do. If right now going to the gym once a week for you is your goal, that's a shit goal, my friend, because you need to be higher. And if my goal is 4,000 hours of watch time, that is a shit goal, my friend, because there's somebody getting 4,000 hours of watch time every hour.
Yeah,
do you understand, right? So that is a shit goal because Mr. Beast is balling out of those numbers and we are not. Be discontent. You need to tell yourself that the goal you're aspiring for is your standard. It is shit. I'm not saying if your goal is going to the gym once a week, you need to aim for 4 times a week. I'm just saying make that once a week seem like nothing. Make it seem like, what do you mean I'm not going once a week? Oh my God, no, I'm gonna go. Like make it feel like a sanitary standard. Make it like you're gonna feel yourself like you're dirty if you don't go. Be discontent. Be genuinely unhappy with your situation because the killer of goals is complacency.
Yeah.
If you're complacent, you remain in the same place. You don't go down, but you don't go up. You're boring. There's no point to your life if you just stay stagnant in the same okay, fine, skinny, fat, white picket fence with a dog.
Yeah. And one thing I like to say is like life is literally a video game. I think I said that on the previous episode, and it was like you're going to grind for that Lambo and GTA run. You're not going to grind for anything in real life. Humans, and especially men, we like achieving things. We like grinding for something and then getting it. And then going for something even higher. So if you are satisfied with your current situation, but in GTA you're gonna I need to do this heist so I can get this car so I can buy the yacht. Can you just please, for the love of God, just apply that philosophy to real life? Because this weekend I was exploring the city. I met some people. I literally did missions like on my map.
Yeah, in
if you want.
Montreal,
In
motherfucker.
Montreal, like I was all over the place. And after I came back from that weekend, I was like, man, life is literally a video game. I literally went around town. I explored and I did some missions. That's insane. So apply the philosophy of you playing GTA and going to see Lester for a new heist to going to your map in real life, going to that place if you want that job, or going to that gym if you want that body. It's that simple. It's pure mathematics. And if you will apply that logic to video games but not real life, you're just literally lying to yourself.
And the best games usually are the games that are infinite.
Exactly.
Right? GTA is extremely popular because it's an open world. It never ends. You can always keep
World
playing.
of Warcraft.
It is the same thing in real life. The only games worth playing are the ones that are infinite, because you can never win at relationships.
No.
You never win. You got a girlfriend. You haven't won. Then the new goal now is to make the love grow fonder and fonder and better and having a better relationship by whatever standards that is for you, right? But as an infinite game, there's no completion. You never win at marriage.
No, exactly.
You never win at business.
Especially marriage. Some people will see marriage as the final thing. Like it's the end. Actually, it's the beginning.
It's the beginning.
Yeah.
And so, also, another quote from David Data, which goes with discontentment. Stop hoping for the completion of anything in life.
Mm-hmm.
Often, men make this mistake where we set a goal, and then, like I said in the beginning of the episode, you set a goal, and then when you reach the goal, you're like, oh, okay, now we're fine, now we're good, now we can enjoy, we can have a little bit of fun. You can have a little bit of fun, but a little bit of fun, right? You can tell the story of your boss, how he sent his family to the aquatic park.
Yeah. So, I met this guy because I'm starting a new job in the sales industry, and I guess we could call him my mentor, but he told me, listen, at the very last moment of our inquiry that day, he told me, listen, did you know I have a cottage in this beautiful region of Quebec, and this weekend I'm sending my wife and all my little girls' friends to go to the best aquatic park in Quebec City. And he looked at me, dead silence. He was like, work hard, play hard. And then he shook my hand and he left. And I was like, damn.
He is discontent.
Exactly.
He's not there hoping for completion of anything in life.
He's still working while his family's enjoying life, and he's getting enjoyment out of that. Hearing his little girl, like when he comes back from the Quebec City, and she's like, oh, I had so much fun. That's his fun. He worked for the whole weekend, though. And that doesn't mean you should forget your family and don't spend time with them. But there's a time to work and there's a time to play.
And what I love what you said earlier about how you're gonna align your whole career towards your dad, and he's gonna die sooner than you.
Yeah.
But that is a beautiful thing with children.
Yeah.
Is that in theory they die, you die before them.
Yeah.
So if you sacrifice for them, if you work for them, if you put them at the center of your actions, and you die before them, that's absolutely beautiful.
Exactly.
Because then you've centered your whole life to make their life better, not by imposing your force on them, but by imposing it on yourself.
Exactly.
To work harder.
That was beautiful.
And so that's also an infinite game, because that game, you play it until you die. So it essentially is infinite. And this is why any game worth playing is infinite. Kids, you never win at having kids.
No.
It's infinite.
Absolutely not.
And so it's the same with discontentment. Be discontent. Because when you're complacent is when you tell yourself, it's good enough.
Yeah.
No, it isn't. You can take this to an extreme, but obviously anything taken to its extreme becomes its opposite. So that's what I'm saying, okay? You need to be discontent and do not hope for a completion of anything. I hate when people say, oh, I've been to the gym 3 days in a row, so now I'm going to have a cheat meal. Or it's like, let's say you're trying to be in a calorie deficit. So one day you're going to eat 2,000 calories, 2,000 calories, 2,000 calories. And the fifth day, you'll be like, oh, I've been doing good for 4 days. So now I'm going to eat 4,000 calories.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? You've canceled out your whole deficit for the whole week. So then that whole week now, instead of having lost 1 pound, you're going to be stagnant.
Exactly.
Celebrate, work hard, play hard, but work hard.
Yep.
Not 4 days.
Beautiful. And did you jump into primary motivators, or that's what we're...
Primary motivators, you can go on to primary motivators.
So primary motivators is the point of ignition. So what's what's motivating you actually. Like we said, it could be if it is your parents, then you got something wrong because they're gonna die sooner than you. So the game's not infinite. But if it is your children, for example, and this really doesn't apply to our audience now that I think about it, because you guys don't have children, and if you do,
Neither do we.
neither do we. If your primary motivators are your children, that's a beautiful thing. If your primary motivators is to help society grow, that's a beautiful thing. Listen, when we were out yesterday overlooking the city, it's just a bunch of combustion when you think about it. It's just a bunch of people who had purpose, who had discontentment, and their primary motivation is, well, building a city.
And built goddamn skyscrapers. And if motherfucker built a 50-story building, you can lift some weights.
Exactly.
You can lift some weights. And to find your primary motivators, it is very, very simple. Just ask yourself what you want and then keep asking why.
Mm-hmm.
I want 4,000 hours. No, okay, let's not say that. Let's say I want a successful business. Why? Because I want to make money. Why? Because I believe that money helps you having the best life possible. Why do I want the best life possible? And then as you go down, you're going to hit some childhood trauma, because that is the root of everything. And this is a quote from Carl Jung. For a tree to reach heaven, it is said, its roots need to be in hell. And so this is why 2 out of the 3 motivators are pretty much objectively negative, right? Your primary motivators could be that you were never loved consistently as a child, and so now you feel like you need to grow an online presence so that you feel valued.
Yeah.
Second thing, discontentment. That is a painful experience. Being discontented is painful. Because imagine literally feeling like if you're not making $1 million, it's as if you hadn't taken a shower in 3 weeks. You're going to feel disgusted, right? Like, it's going to be genuinely painful. But then you're going to go through that pain for years until you reach a goal.
Mm-hmm.
This is painful. Like, it truly is. And now you might be getting scared and being like, okay, well, this is painful. I'm not sure if I want to do this. If you went to the gym and it wasn't painful, then did you work out?
Yeah. The whole goal of the gym is literally pain. When you think about it, good pain. Of course, don't get injured. Don't break an ankle.
Good pain. It's just like when you're running, when your lungs start burning, you need to be like, the mistake is going, oh, my lungs are burning in, to slow down. The real G's are going to be like, oh, yeah, now this is getting fun. Now I fucking feel something.
Exactly. And we're not masochists. It's just a sign of growth.
It's growing pains.
Exactly.
It is purely a sign of growth.
Exactly.
And finally, action step is very simple. Audit your current situation. Truly, I did this once. I recommend you do this. Write down and write out just your daily life. Write out a week. Write out your assets. Write down what you do. Write down who you speak with. Write down where you go and audit. Are you really unhappy? Because if you were unhappy, you would change. Depressed people either kill themselves or get better.
Wow.
And that's changing something somewhere. Because if you just stay depressed, you're not depressed enough.
Exactly.
You're comfortable. You're comfortably numb.
Comfortably numb.
And then you're going to never change. And I know a lot of you guys, and I'm thinking about one guy in specific, okay, you might recognize yourself in this. Every single morning I ask you how you're doing, and you're like, oh, fine, oh, fine. You've been, oh, fine for like 2 years. Bro, I know your pain. I think it was Valentine's Day this year, and, I didn't have a Valentine's either, but you looked very, very bummed out, and you're like, oh, we have a chemistry exam, and I don't have a girlfriend, and this, and you looked very discontent, yet nothing changed. Were you really unhappy, or were you just having fun complaining?
Wow. Having fun complaining. Ooh. That was heavy.
How do you become he who can, which is gravity and earth inside our diagram?
So, you can jump more into this because I need more context.
100%.
Explain the functioning and the importance of belief systems.
You cannot act out of accordance with your beliefs. If you believe Donald Trump would be a bad president, you will never put down like him as your vote and then put your hand inside the thing. You will never do it. If you truly believe Donald Trump would be a bad president, you just won't vote for him. Like, I'll tell you, go vote for him, and you'll be like, nah. And I'll be like, why? And you'll be like, because I don't like him. And I'll be like, go vote anyway. You're just going to be like, no, the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, you cannot act out of accordance with your beliefs. It is impossible. impossible. If you believe that you are an A grade student and then you get a C,
Yeah.
you're going to be like our friend who's like, fuck, and then changed. Okay, you cannot act out of accordance to your beliefs. Now, of course, you're not the master of reality. You can't control what happens to you. If you believe you're a totally healthy person, then you get cancer. Whoopsies. Whoopsies. Right? You don't get to master fucking reality. But still, you cannot act out of accordance with your beliefs. If I truly believed I was a bad speaker, I would have never turned on the camera today.
For real.
If I believed I'm a great speaker, which is delusional, right? Like, clearly, I made like 75 mistakes in the past sentence. Like, right now, I just made a mistake, right?
Exactly.
Clearly, I'm not a world-class speaker, but I tell myself I am before the podcasts, and they've been getting better and better and better.
Exactly. We can definitely see the improvement between like the first episode and now. I feel an improvement as I'm speaking. So
Because we are becoming he who can.
exactly.
We feel different because we are different, because we're truly becoming another person. Yet again, you are not your goal. JP, who has 4,000 hours watch time.
Yep.
Well, sorry, self-master sessions. So both of us are the JP and Arnaud who's great at speaking. It's the people who have great content, who find the solution to your problem. These are the two dudes who are going to get those 4,000 hours of watch time. It is not myself. But we are becoming that person. We're becoming he who can by altering first our beliefs. Because beliefs are the most important thing you can alter in order to take a change. So let's just say you have an issue with vaping and your goal is to stop vaping, right? If you give in to the urge and grab the vape and then go to put it to your lips, but then you tell yourself, I don't smoke. I'm not a smoker. I don't smoke. I'm not a smoker. I don't smoke. I'm not a smoker. You're gonna pull away. This has been scientifically proven. The most effective way for smokers to stop smoking is to tell themselves they're not a smoker.
Literally change your identity.
If you tell yourself, I'm on day 25 of not smoking, you're going to fuck up.
Yep.
Because you told yourself, I'm on day 25. That means there's an end. That means it's not an infinite game. If you say, I am not a smoker, that's an infinite game. And the only games worth playing are infinite games. Okay. And your belief systems can be mapped out very simply. Imagine you have a scale, right? So you have like a triangle in the middle, and then there's a long bar, right? Yeah. And on each end, you have buckets, okay? There's buckets for each beliefs, which either makes it good or bad, or to what degree you believe in that thing, okay? So let's just say you have the belief that I am a good speaker on this side, and then I am a bad speaker on that side. Well, then the way that I'm going to alter my belief is by stacking more experiences on the side that I want. Okay, what side do I want? The side where I am a good speaker, because that is my goal, right? And so I'm going to take that side. I'm going to start stacking experiences, and experiences can be achieved through affirmations and actually living through things. So if I live through this podcast and I actually see the evolution in my speech, then that is myself adding an experience, because I put my 5 senses onto me watching the recording and being like, oh, you've improved, JP. You are becoming a great speaker. You are a great speaker. It's like if I put a rock inside the I'm a good speaker bucket and then altered it, and then my belief becomes more that I am a good speaker. Yeah. Then if I tell myself before the podcast, I'm a great speaker, I'm a great speaker, I'm a great speaker, that is as if I was stacking rocks, because I'm still putting my 5 senses onto the stimuli. It's the same reason that if you listen to a bunch of degen music, you're more likely to be a degen, because you're singing the lyrics and you're saying, I smoke weed, I smoke weed, I smoke weed. If you keep singing the song, at some point, you're going to do it.
Exactly.
And this is why church has its own music. Look, religion has been around for a very, very long time. They're not stupid, okay? They're very, very good at converting people to their religion, because it's the whole goal of the religion, right? I mean, not the whole goal, but it's a very important part to bring more people to the religion. So they got very, very good at this. They're literally changing the person's identity. They go from a non-believer or a believer in something else to a believer of Jesus Christ. They literally alter the person's entire paradigm and identity through affirmations, through songs in which they will sing about Jesus Christ. In North Korea, they do the goddamn same thing. They sing to the leader, forgot him, is it Kim Jong-un? Yeah. They sing about the leader. And so the children's identity, because mainly children, right? Children's identity switches to, oh, we love Kim Jong-un. So their belief becomes, he's a great president. He's a great president. And so if right now you have an issue, if you don't see yourself as a person who works out, it's simply because you've stacked so many experiences on the side that you're not a person that works out, right? I was never good at running. I was a fat motherfucker, okay? I was not good at running. And Same so here. I stacked a bunch of experiences on the side of I'm a bad runner, bad runner, bad runner. So it was so difficult for me to get into running because I had so many experiences and my belief was I was a bad runner. So then I had to completely alter my identity to be like, no, JP, be delusional for a second, okay? You are a great runner. You're a great runner. And so then I started dressing like a runner, speaking like a runner, acting like a runner, and so I became a runner.
Exactly.
And so that is how belief systems function, and they are incredibly important. And so we can directly go into. Sorry, I need to make this clear. I've said this many times, but you're a collection of 3 things, according to Carl Jung, which I firmly believe in this theory. You're a collection of skills, beliefs, and characteristics / traits. We're going to use traits throughout this episode.
Yep.
Traits are like could be physically or mentally. So that's you could be a charismatic person, or you can be a muscular individual. So that is a trait. A skill is something you're able to do, like you're able to bench 225 pounds. And then a belief is what I exactly just said. And so Arnaud, can you tell us how you can alter your skills?
So by getting positive experiences into the bucket, like you said.
To altering your skills.
To altering your skills.
How do you level up your skills?
Oh, it's basically like a video game through action. You just do more. If you are shit at golf, if you play more golf, you're going to be better. If you stack more repetition in the stack, you're going to get better. Do you think, like, listen, there's this one thing my grandma told me one time. I was really, really young, and I was like, man, this guitarist, he's phenomenal. He's really good. My grandma stopped me right there. She's like, he put in 10,000 hours. And 10,000 hours could be interpreted into anything. For us, it could be 10,000 podcasts, If we want to get better at podcasting, listen, Joe Rogan has like 2,000 episodes. I think he knows one thing or two about podcasting.
And they're all 3 hour long.
And they're all 3 hour long. So he knows about podcasting. If we want to get better at podcasting, then do more podcasts. You guys can clearly see the evolution from episode 1 to this episode right now. Not just the production since the first episode definitely got better, but our speech, our ideas, our content, the way our delivery changed. So simply, you can get better skills through action. You want to get better at benching, then bench. You want to get better, at squatting, squat. You want bigger legs, squat. But to put in that action, you need consistency. And then you can go watch our episode 4 and stuff like that.
And there's an important distinction to make. So this is from Andrew Tate, love him or hate him. This has nothing to do with his views, right? He was talking about how one time he was giving a speech, and at the end of the speech, a guy came up to him who was older than him. So I think Tate is like 36.
Yeah.
And that guy was like 45. And the guy said to Tate, oh, man, you speak so great. How do you speak that good? You must have practiced a lot. And Andrew looked at him and said, I don't practice at all. You're 45, I'm 36. You've been speaking longer than I have. So if practice was the remedy to all of this, you should be a better speaker than I am. And the guy is like taken aback, and he's like, oh, I am older than you. So then, I have been speaking for longer. I should be a better speaker. And then Andrew says, what makes somebody better is not always practice. It's feedback. Because if you went through 100 workouts by yourself, amazing. Your form probably got a lot better. If you went through 100 workouts for a personal trainer, brother, you are gonna have some crazy form. So this is why this is what the whole personal trainer industry is held on.
Yeah,
it is accountability and feedback, which also ties back with accountability. What makes you better is not the practice; it is the feedback. Because if we're doing these podcasts and there was no comments on YouTube, no views on YouTube, no watch time on YouTube, and no likes, nothing, then how do we know if we're doing good? If none of you guys come up to us at school and said, oh, I watched your episode, it was great, I like this, but I did not like those parts. If you're our great friend, we were hanging out with you yesterday, if you didn't text us in the group chat after every single episode saying, boys, great episode, this was good, that could have been better, that could have been better. If we didn't have feedback, then how could we ever improve? We would be the same stage as episode 1.
Yep.
And the way we get feedback is by watching back the episodes and then being like, okay, I fucked up my speech here. Okay, I did this thing wrong. Okay, and then I take some notes, and then I'm like, okay, next episode we need to make sure that we nail that. And so, what made us better was not the episode per se. It was not the practice. It was the feedback, and this is extremely important when you're going to be altering your skills. So let's say your goal is getting a girlfriend, right? Well, then the skill you need to level up is, you're flirting, your social skills, you approaching girls, you're actually speaking to them, right? Don't text them on Instagram. Don't be a fucking weirdo, okay? Or don't be a pussy at least, right?
Yeah.
And so the way you're going to level up that skill is not by yes going up to more chicks, but if you just went up to more chicks with brain dead mind, you would learn nothing. If you went up, said some words, and then analyzed her how she reciprocated to you, and at the end you got her number, did not get her number, and then you understand, okay, why did I not get her number this time? What happened? Boom, that's feedback.
Yeah.
Now you're improving. And Alex Ramosi said this. He defines intelligence as rate of learning, and he defines learning as same situation, different behavior. So if I put up this pen right here and I slap you across the face,
Yep.
you're gonna be like, "What the hell, bro?" And then if I just look at you for 2 seconds, I put up the pen again, and I lift my hand, and you don't duck, you've learned nothing. You're an idiot. What made you better was not me slapping you. It was not the practice. It was the feedback.
Yeah.
It was sorry. What made you better was not me bringing up the pen. It was me slapping you. That was the feedback. It's like, bitch, you did not understand. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what made you actually better. And so this ties back exactly into the person you're going to become. If you're going to become that person quicker, if you're going to become that runner quicker, if you're going to become that better soccer player quicker, if you're going to get those grades quicker, give some feedback. Talk to the teacher.
Yeah.
Send him a message on Teams.
Yeah.
Ask to see your exam and tell him, okay, here I fucked up. Tell me, please, how can I not make this mistake again?
And one thing I want to add is the people who always had ease for things. So people who always had great athleticism, people who always had good grades in school, when they actually get on the market, for example, if you guys want a job or you're trying to start a business, it's going to be really, really hard for those people to find help. I'm not throwing flowers at myself, but I always had ease with sports, even though I don't really like them, and I've always had ease with school. So for me, asking for help and asking for feedback was not really a part of my paradigm. I didn't really ask for help. So me, as I'm getting into a new sales job, I realize I know absolutely nothing. So a big challenge for me is going to be asking for help, asking for feedback. So I think it's great that you mentioned that. But for people who had ease in most aspects of life up through adulthood, then you're going to realize. You're going to realize that asking for help and getting that feedback is more important than actually just going in, winging it, and just going at it. There's a few personality types. I'm not going to get into every personality types, but there's this one personality type, especially in the insurance world. We know them because you call them and they're like, "Oh, the fuck do you know? I don't need your advice, or I don't need your insurance."
Is this all you do all day? Just call people, harass people?
You harass people all day. That's what you do, and then you're on the phone and you're like, "Yep, yeah, that's what I do." Because these people, they don't want your help. And listen, you can listen to this podcast, but Jay-Z said this in one song: "Don't save us, you don't want to be saved."
J. Cole, not Jay-Z.
Sorry, bro. I don't really listen to rap. Jay's same
thing.
Don't save us, you don't want to be saved. If you guys are listening to this, but you don't want to be saved, then click off. You're not our audience.
And I was saying this to him. I talked about this specific person in our class, and I was like, "Man, I just want him to change so bad." And you turned to me and you said, "But he doesn't."
Exactly.
But he doesn't.
He doesn't want to change. So why you're bothering? And if you will get to a point in your self-improvement journey where you have your current friends and you started hitting the gym, you started reading more, you started being more consistent with your habits, and you're going to try to get your friends to hop on. You're like, "Oh yeah, come work out with me, man." Or, "Yeah, you should probably read this book. It's a really good book." And they're going like, yeah, they're going to do it once or twice, and then they don't give a fuck about your advice. They don't care. They don't want to be safe. So stop trying to help other people that don't want to be helped. So if you're watching this, our goal through podcasting is basically to give our advice to as many people as possible. But it's your choice to take it or leave it.
100%. And
yeah, go.
The last part of yourself that you need to change are your traits.
Yep.
And your traits physically can be changed with actions, but mentally with the prior two being stacked as experiences.
Yeah.
The prior two we talked about, so skills and beliefs, right? Traits physically is very simple. I want to be a salesman. What do all salesmen look like? They wear nice shirts, nice pants, they got the shoes, and they got a haircut.
Yeah.
So what do we got? Got the shirt, we got the pants.
I'm missing the haircut, bro. I need a haircut.
And you get the haircut.
Yeah.
Right? And so dress like a runner, speak like a runner, you know, said this many times, then you are a runner. And so you're going to change your traits physically through action. And now you might be saying, okay, well, my goal is going to the gym. This is a very interesting study. So this was on older people, not on us young people, but it's fine. It still correlates. When people were trying to get in shape. And in this study, what they did is that one group was just like, you know, told like, okay, go to the gym. And then they tracked how many times they went. And they tracked their progress, their weight loss, or their weight gain if that was their goal, right? The other group, they're like, okay, but we're going to change out your whole wardrobe for only sports clothes. You're only going to wear like the Under Armour sports clothes. That's all you're going to wear.
Yep.
That group went to the gym, exercised, lost more weight, and got stronger faster in less time.
Yeah.
More in less time.
Yeah.
Why? Because they changed their traits. When I was training for the run, I started wearing my Apple Watch. What do runners do? They wear Apple Watches to track their running. That's what I did. Trying to become a salesman, dress like a salesman. Trying to get into the gym, start wearing some Gymshark. Bro, the shirt costs like $20. Start wearing some Gymshark. Start wearing some tanks.
My gym fits are awful.
Start wearing some tanks. No, but seriously, if you're trying to be more of this, hey, this is super interesting. You know when you dress nicely, like let's say you're going to church or just going to an event, when you dress nicely, you act
nicer,
more like a gentleman. Yep. You literally do. Yep. Or let's say, you know, when you wear glasses, you know how people always say when they wear other people's glasses, they're like, oh, I feel intellectual now. Yeah. Start wearing some, if you want to start reading more, wear some glasses. You're going to feel intellectual, and then you're going to be like, oh yeah, I am this intellectual guy. And then you're going to start reading more. Literally, how you affect your identity. This is a huge part. If you want to be the guy who has a girlfriend, this sounds a little bit weird, but people who have a girlfriend, they usually shave their face. They usually look presentable. They usually wear some nice clothes. They don't have some fucking all shit spilled over them, right? Because they have a nice presentation. They have somebody to look nice for, right? Do this. Figure out what you want. Reverse engineer the traits and look like that person. And finally, you can change your mental traits with the prior to your experiences. So let's say you want to be a more charismatic individual, because to be a podcaster, you need to be quite charismatic, right? Let's say you want to read more. You want to be a more intellectual person. That would be a trait that you have. Or let's say that your trait is in the gym, what could be disciplined. Let's say you want to be a more disciplined individual. Well, you can affect your beliefs by saying, I am a disciplined individual. And then you can use your skills of actually holding a plank for like 5 minutes, which is fucking difficult. Like if you're doing proper form. Holding a plank 5 minutes is fucking difficult. But if you do it, if you go through that, then first of all, your skill of plank got better. Your skill of discipline got better. And guess what? Now you are a disciplined person because you held the plank for 5 minutes. Fake it till you make it. You actually got there.
Yeah. So through question 3, I have this little exercise I want to run.
Hey, what's up? Quick intermission here. Hope you guys are enjoying this episode. Make sure you support us by leaving a like, a comment, subscribing, and watching through the whole episode, actually. Go follow us on social media. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of this episode. See you on the field.
We're going to do this together, but I want you guys at home to do it with us. So you can
pause it, get a pen and paper.
Get a pen and paper, and do the exercise with us. So I'm going to give you 3 seconds.
I'm going to drink some water. Coffee, never mind.
Let me get some coffee. Go get your pen and paper, man. Go get it.
I dropped coffee all over my paper.
Fine. Go get it.
Give me the other notepad.
Okay, so listen, there's 2 types of people. There's the people who took this time to actually go get a pen and paper.
And there's losers.
And then there's the people who are like, I don't need to do that. I'm just going to see what they do. I don't need. Do you actually want to change? We want this helps. This is going to help you. You had 3 seconds? 5 seconds?
Could have stopped it. You could have had 2 minutes.
You could have had 2 minutes to go get a pen and paper. It's not a very arduous task. And you didn't. You didn't pick up pen and paper. I'm telling you right now, you're not going to do it. So go get a pen and paper. And if still after I told you and kept you accountable for not going to get that pen and paper, brother, you're not gonna.
Right now I'm walking and I'm listening to this on audio. Open notes.
Okay, so here's the exercise for people who are playing along with us. So I want you right now to list 10 things that are true about you.
Okay.
So we're gonna do it with JP. I'm just gonna sip on my coffee.
Okay, so you're gonna do it with JP. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Of course.
So my thing is like no, it's my thing is I got bench about measures. I bench 60s. I weigh 157 pounds. 20 pounds for I'm in peak caloric maintenance. Those are 10 things.
Okay, so
So
now
I'm just gonna recap.
You've just listed 10 things that are true about you. So just recap.
My monthly income is $800. I dumbbell bench 60s for 6 reps. I weigh 157 pounds. I'm in a caloric maintenance. I have 28 subscribers. We're broke. I'm on episode 5. I read 1 hour every day. I'm in the last month of high school. I suck at grammar in French, to specify. And I'm a pretty good speaker.
So now, next step. Hope you guys are doing it with us. In 12 months' time, what do you want to be true about you?
Do I need to take the same things, or can it be
No, it could
totally
be
different?
anything. It could be anything.
In 12 months' time, okay? So to recap what I wrote down,
Exactly.
my monthly income is $3,000 a month. I am 180 pounds. I'm a fantastic speaker. I have 30,000 subscribers. Yes, YouTube is very slow, guys. I'm a great salesman. I have read 52 books. I have a 225 bench, and I can run for a full whole marathon in 3 hours.
So the important part of this exercise is the vocabulary. If you guys can read what you wrote and you used words like I'm going to, I will, or I'll do this, it puts you in a position of putting it off. If you say I will, then that's not your new identity. That's a speculation. That's a hypothesis. If your vocabulary, you used I am, then that's your new identity. If you say I am going to make $3,000 a month, then that's your new identity.
I
If you
am
say,
180 pounds.
I am 180 pounds. If you say I will be 180 pounds, I will make $3,000 a month, then it's just a hypothesis. It's just an idea of maybe when you do a laboratory, right? You're like, I think this is how it's going to go. Are you really thinking, or you want that new identity? So when you do your clear map, your current self and your future self, what is your future self? It's not a maybe. It is. That's what you want your future self to be. So if you use vocabulary like I'm going to, you're not going to do it. If you use vocabulary like I am, that's realistic and that's going to happen. So action step, do this exercise. And if you didn't do the exercise, don't watch, just click off. But we can get into question 4. After bullying
After bullying our dear viewers, we like you guys. And so the action step is to do this with us. If you didn't do it with us, you're a bitch.
Yeah.
Keeping it a buck with you. Okay. And so what actions do I need to take? How does one know what actions he needs to take? And so this is the rocket inside of our diagram.
So there's this one thing that Alex Ramosi said that I really, really, really enjoyed. Is it a knowledge issue or an action issue? If it's a knowledge issue, then what actions do you need to take? You need to start reading more, watch more podcasts, have a mentor. Those could be fixes that you could implement into your life if it's a knowledge issue. If it's an action issue, basically the reason why you're not going towards your goal is because you're not putting in the right actions to do so. Then watch our episode 4, please. But if you want to kill procrastination, if it's because you lack motivation, then rewatch this episode so you can get it. And motivation is not it's an emotion. It will fade. Motivation is not real. So if you need consistency, then you can again go watch our prior episodes. I'm really milking this. I need that 3,000 hours of watch time.
Oh my God.
So those are the 2 types of issues. So what actions do you need to take? Establish if it's a knowledge issue or an action issue, and then use the information I just listed to take action on it.
And the thing is, it could be both.
It could be both.
So let's say my issue was that, let's say a trait that my future self has is that he's a fantastic salesman.
Yeah.
Right? Well, that is both an action issue and a knowledge issue, because if I knew how to be a great salesman, I would be. So I need to learn sales. And usually you learn sales not only through books, not only through feedback, but also through practice at the same time. And so it's also an action issue. I need to sell more.
Yeah.
I just genuinely need to be in a position where I'm going to be selling things to people more often. So it is both an action and a knowledge issue.
Mm-hmm.
If the issue would be like, how do I make better thumbnails for this? Then that is fully a knowledge issue, because making the thumbnail, like Photoshop is not that complicated, right? So then the actual problem is the knowledge. What constitutes a good thumbnail on YouTube? That's something I need to find out. How can I make the viewers feel like this is a familiar thing, and the second they see the same color palette that we use all the time, just like Joe Rogan has the red thing at the back.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, Joe Rogan. You click on it, you just know it's Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Same thing here. If you're gonna just see like the white and black background of SMS, you're gonna be like, okay, Self-Mastery Sessions, boom, click. I like these guys. They have a good reputation. They usually put out some good stuff. So you're gonna click on it. So would be a knowledge issue. How do I make good thumbnails? It's not actually very skillful. It's not very much of a skill issue, because Photoshop is not a difficult tool to use. And so what you to do is that you take one trait, skill, or belief that he has, but it would usually be a skill or a trait that your future self has, and you want to reverse engineer it. So let's take, for example, JP in 4 years is 180 pounds at 10% body fat, which, by the way, I would look fucking crazy like that. And so it is. So like I said, you need to make some big encompassing goals. I cannot slacken my diet if I'm trying to be 180 pounds, 10% body fat, because that's a fucking goal and a half. Okay, that's difficult, achievable, it's realistic. The time frame is even a little bit pessimistic. It could be in 3 years, but 4 years is realistic. I know I'm going to achieve it because I just have the right mental state. And so figure out one trait, right? 180 pounds, 10% body fat, and then you want to find what are the constants of that goal. And so for the gym, the constants are going to be pretty much the same. They're going to be your nutrition, your exercise, and your sleep. If what I'm trying to get better at is my speech or podcasting, well, a podcast is really 4 things. It is the content, so it is what you're saying, and then it is how you're saying it. So is it through stories? Is it through diagrams? Is it through analogies? Afterwards, you're going to have who is saying it. So authority, why should you listen to me? If you have a guest on, which we will soon, excited for that. Little sneak peek. Why would you listen to them? So then it is what I'm saying, content, how I'm saying it, presentation, who I am, authority, and then finally it is the production and the packaging. So camera quality, see 2 camera angles, microphones, and then just always upgrading that. So those would be the constants. And so the gym is nutrition, exercise, sleep.
Yep.
In running, it would probably be something to do with shin splints, because you get a fuck ton of those. And so you figure out the constants, and then you reverse engineer the actions. So let's say I'm trying to get better at podcasting.
Yeah.
I have my constants. And so let's say I just take content as a constant. Then I reverse engineer. What makes good content? Well, good content in the educational space would be, well, in every single word I say, at every single second that passes in the episode, you feel like value is being provided to you. And value is created when pain is alleviated. And pain is alleviated when problems are solved. Charlie Morgan, very, very smart individual. That's a quote from him. And so now that I have my constants in the podcasting world, I just then need to reverse engineer. What makes a good episode? More value.
Mm-hmm.
What's value? Solving problems. Awesome. Now I need to figure out, and then it becomes a knowledge issue. Okay, what's the problem that they have? Okay, they have this problem. What's the solution? The solution to their problem, knowledge issue. I know the action I need to take. And you could give an example for the gym too.
Yeah. So
powerlifting, let's just say in powerlifting, what are the constants usually?
So when you want to do a powerlifting segment, well, you want to get better lifts, but a powerlifting segment, you just do 1 rep. How do you get better at 1 reps? Then you're going to do 1 rep maxes, but you're also going to train in a certain rep range. So that's what you need to do. I want to give an example. When you play Minecraft, because we know a lot of gamers, okay? So this will maybe resonate more with you than my very specific powerlifting routine, which was phenomenal, by the way. When you play Minecraft, there's a book that is just achievements. It's just a map of everything in the game, right? Do that, but with real life.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
It's like a skill tree.
Exactly. But the thing is, in the skill tree, well, you unlock those skills, but in an achievement point of view, which is kind of like our dashboard in YouTube, well, it's the micro wins. So when you you have those, I don't want to say skill tree, but an achievement tree, like when you play Xbox and there's like a list of achievements. Do that, but with real life. Write your achievement lists and how big those achievements are.
It's like milestones.
It's like milestones, exactly.
So let's say you have a goal of like 1 million subscribers. Well, what are the steps of that? Well, first thing, you probably want to have 100 subscribers. Then you're going to have 1,000. And you're going to get monetized at the same time if you have enough watch time.
Yeah.
And so then once you have the watch time, you have the subscribers, then the other goal is probably getting like 30,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Then 50,000, then 100,000, and then you set up milestones. And you set up milestones that are not only views and subscribers, but also watch time, because that is when you know value is actually being provided.
Yeah.
Which the only way to find that out is by knowledge. So just by learning more about the thing. If you're trying to be better at soccer, now I don't know shit about soccer, so I couldn't really tell you what are the goal constants, but I'm pretty sure it has something to do with kicking the ball, evading your enemy, and running.
Yeah.
And so if you get good at
evading your enemy, I love it.
evading your enemy and running. And so if you get good at all the constants in soccer, then you're going to be a phenomenal soccer player. And so just reverse engineer. How do I become better at running with the ball? Just run with the ball more often.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And that's a skill issue. It's not really a knowledge issue. But then it is, how do I kick the ball in between the dude's feet? Still a skill issue. But then it is, what is the best position that we can position ourselves, every single player on the field, for us to be able to strike goals every single time? No, that is a knowledge issue, because you need to figure out, where can I place this one guy there, defender, what is it? I don't know how the fuck it works. But anyway, so you're going to have the best shot at winning the game. Skill issue. Knowledge issue, I mean. And so take whatever trait your future self has.
Yeah.
Find the constants in that. So let's say sleep. You got to get it for bodybuilding. Reverse engineer actions. Sleep, it's pretty simple. You're going to need to get some sunlight during the day. You need to be tired before bed. You need to avoid some fucking bright lights at night. Get off your phone, wear some blue light glasses, and go to bed every single day at the same time.
Yep.
You figured out the constant, which is sleep. You reverse engineer how to get good sleep, and then you just take massive violent action daily, and you keep learning.
Here. Massive violent action.
Take massive violent action, because if it's not, look, you got to be intense, right? You got to be violent. Massive violent action. Don't half-ass anything. If at the end of your workouts, because we are our great friend yet again, at the end of every single one of his leg workouts, he's crawling on the floor.
Yeah, exactly.
But this motherfucker got some big ass legs, so that's when you know he's taking massive violent action, and he's gonna get what he fucking wants.
And also, one thing that the personal training space really likes to put emphasis on is micro wins. Like I stated earlier, micro wins are really important. You need them because you're gonna realize if those constants are actually working. So you put in all those constants, your sleep, your eating, and your training, then you're gonna see if it's actually working. For me, when I was powerlifting, for example, the program consisted of a certain amount of weight correlated to my 1 rep max for a certain amount of reps. So for me, a micro win was if the weight felt easier or if I had better technique. I know I can hit the weight. I know I can. But it was the technique. So you need to find what the micro wins are. And when you do see them, enjoy them, cherish them, and acknowledge what made them happen.
And so, yeah, let's say your goal is to read a book a week.
Yep.
Good milestone. You finished a chapter. You've read 15 pages. You've read 20 pages. And it's by setting the goal of 1 book a week. Let's say the book is 200 pages. 200 divided by 7. That's your daily goal. If you hit that goal daily, micro win.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
Exactly.
You can down spiral, but you can also up spiral.
Exactly. So action step, make an achievement map. Like I said, make milestones and set a roadmap for yourself. Basically, go on your Xbox, see how they create achievements, and do that in real life. And you know the little points. You can literally give yourself a point system at this point. You can make that work. Open a Notion page. Yeah, gamify it. Make a game out of it because, like I said earlier, life is basically a video game. So gamify it. Make it interesting. Make it fun. It's up to you, man. You really, if you want to do that, you can do that. But make a roadmap and set milestones.
And finally, this is the part where a lot of you guys are not going to have fun.
Yeah, this is going to be really painful. I can see it. It's ouch.
So far, we just want to have a nice, fun little recap of what we talked about. We've talked about, setting a star. So yet again, we talk about your vision, talking about a better life. It's exciting stuff. Afterwards, we told you, why do you want to achieve that goal? We talked about your motivators. We told you this is going to hurt. You need to be discontent. But still, it's kind of motivating. It looks fun. Then we told you to become he who can. And we had this nice little exercise where you're going to state some new truths about yourself. Afterwards, we give you some advice about how you're going to reverse engineer what the current trait your future self has and how you're going to achieve that. But this is the part where if you stick through and you actually implement what we're going to talk about, you're going to be so much different from everybody else. And you're going to destroy the competition watching this. You're going to blow everybody out the water if you actually implement this section. Question 5. How do I optimize, in parentheses, atmosphere?
So, no, yeah, you can get into it. So sacrifice for your goal, or your goal becomes a sacrifice. There's a lot of sacrifices to be made. And I'm learning about parenthood because somehow. And one thing that I realize is like, yeah, if you're going out, like, and you're doing weird shit and you're sacrificing your family for doing weird shit, you're not going to get respect from your family. If you're like, I think it was because Kobe Bryant, like, he was a big basketball player. I think that's where that's from. So Kobe Bryant used to work out at like at 6 a.m. or even earlier. He used to train all day and he didn't really see his family much. But do you think Kobe Bryant's daughter respects him? Of course. Because he was out working for his goals. So you're going to have to make sacrifices for your goal.
Or your goal becomes a sacrifice. And
exactly.
Look, you only have so much energy. I've said this in almost every single episode. When you're born, you have a bank of time and a bank of energy.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Everybody time, 85 years, put that aside. You probably have 85 years unless you get hit by a bus.
Yeah.
Right? But then you have energy. Everybody has a similar amount of energy. You get more energy by increasing your health, but that's not the point of this. You only have so much energy. You and Jeff Bezos have the same 24 hours. You and I have the same 24 hours. Everybody has the same day.
Yep.
The sun is going to be in this exact position tomorrow morning. At the same exact fucking time, because that's how this shit works, right? Look, you need to fucking sacrifice for a goal. You can have anything you want, but you can't have everything.
Exactly.
You can't be, because we used to do this. We used to go to the gym 6 times a week and do martial arts 6 times a week. We used to get into the weightlifting gym from 4 till 5:30, so it's a 90-minute session. And then afterwards, we would be into the fighting gym from 5 till 9. So we were literally,
that was insane, bro.
We were literally training 4 to 9. It was literally a shift. It was 5 hours of training. But guess what? I barely made any muscle gain during those 6 months.
It was catabolic.
Because you can have anything, but you can't have everything. Look, I could have had a better balance. I could have been going maybe martial arts twice a week.
And
as
listen,
opposed to 6.
it was fun. It was really fun. We had a great time, and we were those guys. Like,
but
we were those guys. But it came for a sacrifice.
Because my goal, my bigger goal was weightlifting and bodybuilding a lot more than fighting. And so I had to sacrifice for the goal, or else, well, it literally was. My goal was becoming the sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I know you love going out with your friends. I know you love Xbox. I know you love winding down for 3 hours on your phone, laying in bed watching TikTok. Sacrifices must be made. And sometimes, which is sacrifice is not a thing. It is not a video game. It's not your PS4. It's not your phone. You can delete Instagram. All that takes is willpower.
Yeah.
But sometimes the thing to sacrifice is a person.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes, the only thing pulling you back is your mind or another person's mind. Because the phone is an inanimate object. If you throw it across the room, it won't bother you anymore. You probably can't throw a person across the room. Very serious about this. And I talk about it in every single episode. Check who you hang out with. Look at your friend group. Seriously, audit your environment. Look at the person you spend time with. Are they making you win money or lose money?
Yeah.
Are they making you achieve your goals or not achieve your goals? Every single second I spend with this guy, I'm making either more money or more muscles somehow. Every single second you're going to spend with those dudes who play FIFA all day.
Yeah.
You know the answer if you're making more or less gains.
It was planned later in the script, but I want to say it right now because the timing's just right. In the law, there's this thing called association fallacy. So guilt that can be ascribed to someone not because of any evidence, but because of their associations with an offender. Why can't you apply that to self-improvement too? If your friends, they always smoke pot and they always play video games late at night and they throw parties or whatever, that's your friends, that's the people you hang around with, you're bound to do that too. Because if the law caught you, well, you'd be guilty by association. So I really liked that little segment where I searched the code, the law, and well, that implies to self improvement too. You're the sum of 5 people you hang around with. I'm sure you heard that so many times, but this is serious. You could go to jail because of the 5 people you hang around with. So really analyze that, and you have some sacrifices to do. And trust me, you will get lonely. You will be alone, and you'll be like, I cut out all my friends just because of this. Was it really worth it? You'll be questioning if you actually did the right decision until you find some people who feel the same. So you find other people who are like, man, I'm lonely. Did I do the right decision? And then you guys work towards a common goal. You guys are basically everyone's making each other better. That's the people you want to hang around with. I would go to jail for this guy. I wouldn't go to jail for the pothead that like plays video games all day.
Yeah, it's like my origin story with the gym.
Exactly.
So it's a quick reminder. This was December 2020. What was it? 2023. So it's been a year and a half ago almost, and I was very discontent. A bunch of things had happened, and I texted this guy, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna come to the gym tomorrow, and he was like, bet. And so I get my account all ready and everything, and then I go with the gym with this guy. And for some reason, I never had an issue staying consistent with the gym. I've never missed a session just because, truly. Like, I got into the gym January 10th. I know it by heart. And I went the 11th, I went the 12th, I went the 13th, 14th, 15th. I never stopped. I never had an issue being consistent with the gym. Because, honestly, I removed everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And basically my only friend was this guy.
Yeah.
But guess what? Did I make more money or less money? Did I make more gains or did I make less gains by only associating with this person? And I could not be more grateful. Truly, you need to make some sacrifices, and those sacrifices often need to be people. So you might be watching this. There's a lot of friends I put aside. There's a lot of friends I put aside for this. There's a lot of people I've cut off, I've stopped talking to. I barely talk to anybody because I can't find that many people who are like me. But once I do, once I found you, once I find other people, you know who you are very clearly. I've skyrocketed my self-improvement journey because I've only surrounded myself with killers. I've only surrounded myself with people who are ambitious about their goals. And look, if you know us in person, we might not want to be friends with you. And that's okay. Because if right now you're doing a bunch of bad habits and we're trying to help you, but you still smoke weed and you might even bring your vape if you come hang out with us, if ever you come hang out with us, we're not going to associate with you because we'll be guilty by association. And so there will be a period, which we call this self-improvement depression, in which you're going to cut out all the bad habits, you're going to cut out your friends, but you're going to be by yourself. And your old friends won't want you because you don't want to sleep late, you don't want to play video games, so your old friends won't want you. And the guys who are higher up in the self-improvement journey won't want you either because truly you haven't changed too much. You stopped doing the bad habits, but you're not doing the good habits either, and you're still struggling. And you sometimes still have your vape with you and stuff like that. Sometimes you still get on the video game. And so the high-level guys don't want to get with you. You've cut off all the lower-level guys, and you will be by yourself for a little bit. But trust me, stick it through. And one day you might be sat on this couch right here.
Exactly. Beautiful. Beautiful.
And to touch again on auditing your environment. Your environment is anything you put your senses on, truly. It is your phone. It is, and I love, you know who you are. You said this yesterday. I love this. So you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You are the sum of the 5 content creators you consume the most.
Yep.
But you're also the sum of the 5 places you hang out with the most too.
Exactly.
Look, the places I hang out at the most is my house, the gym, and school. And school is not by choice. So the places,
school is not by choice.
And the place. So if it was my choice, the only places I'd go to would be my house, working, actual workplace.
Yeah.
So selling, doing sales, or at the gym. If all you did was spend your time at the gym, at your house working, not doing any bullshit, or at an actual job, or if you actually want to be a doctor, you're spending all your time at the library studying, then how can you not achieve your goals, right? Spend your time in a little alley behind where there was a dumpster with that squirrel the other day.
Yeah.
I'm kind of worried for you.
Exactly.
Worried you won't get what you want.
So, the last thing we need to touch on, because this question is how do you optimize basically. The last thing we need to touch on is leverage. Ask yourself, how do you spend your time, and realize if you're getting the most amount of leverage out of it. So, for an example, one thing that we like business, right? One thing that we've learned through reading about business and stuff like that, people who are successful in business, they don't work in the business. They work on the business. They make the business grow because that's their goal. That's, as a business owner, your goal is to make your business bigger. That's capitalism. It's been there for years. And if you spend your time while fulfilling your product or doing marketing or doing things that you could outsource while you're wasting your time, you're not getting the most amount of leverage out of it. So when you spend time with your friends, for example, are you really getting the most amount of leverage out of your time? That's the question you need to ask yourself.
And I have an example for this. A lot of people say that before going to the gym, they need to watch a bunch of fitness videos in order to learn more about the gym. Look, you're going to learn so much more about the gym by actually just being there. Using the machines is much more leverage for your time. And another question you can ask yourself is, which I can give an example yet again of business, but I can relate this to studies. So let's say you owned a window cleaning business. I'm not talking to anybody in specific. Yes, I am. You're owning a window cleaning business. You know me in real life. And you take your bike and you take your big ladder and you go and you clean people's houses, well, their windows, and you get paid for that. And it's an amazing business you're running. But you know what would be much, much higher leverage for you? Instead of working in the business, instead of cleaning the windows, why don't you do like marketing for the people who window clean? Why don't you go do sales for a company that actually exists right now, and all you did was do sales for them? What if instead of working in the business, instead of being the guy cleaning the window, you had higher leverage? You worked on the business. You worked at moving levers of getting the marketing set up right for those businesses, getting the sales set up right. And I can relate this to studies. A lot of you guys are going to be studying by reading the fucking book. Or you're going to be studying by answering the simple questions like true or false. No. The real studies are going to be done when you take practice exams that you can find online very simply, or ask ChatGPT to make you a practice exam for whatever subject you're studying, and doing that. Because that is you actually having the highest leverage for the amount of time you're putting in. You're literally doing the actual exam. It's the same thing if you're practicing for writing a whole text. Write a text. Notes are important, of course. But once you're done with taking the notes, rereading the rubric won't make you better at writing the text. Write the fucking text. Have higher leverage for your time. When I spend time with my current friend group, like yesterday, we hung out for 5 hours, which usually we never hang out that long. Usually we hang out for an hour max, unless we're at the gym, which we might be there 2 hours actually.
Yeah.
Yesterday was 5 hours. It was the longest hangout I've been to in the past 4 months. That conversation, because we talked about many other things on the podcast. That conversation made me $1 million somehow.
Somehow, yeah.
The things we talked about, the traumas we talked through, made us grow so much as people that it made us money somehow.
Exactly.
If the conversations you're having are about Drake and Kendrick beef, then I'm sorry for you.
So, one thing, the action step, the final thing I want you guys to do, I want you guys to sit down in a room, nothing, no distraction. I don't even want the phone to be in the room. No, literally, turn off the power in your house for all I care. Turn it off. Ask yourself, who or what could I remove out of my life right now to optimize for my goal? That's the only thing I want you to do. And the other exercises we did, of course.
And really focus on the who.
The who.
To end this off, I just want to tell you in the description, there's a resource. The resource is going to be a full protocol. So basically everything we talked about, all written down into a protocol for you to follow along. And I think we're done for this episode.
Exactly. Well, thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys got great value out of it. Seriously, I am very grateful for all the progress we've made. And yeah, fuck. These episodes are getting heavier and heavier, so
you need to cut off some people, motherfuckers. I know you need to cut off some people.
But on the last point, just before we go, when you're there, really take your time. When you're there thinking about it, it might take an hour. I'm dead serious. If it takes an hour, that means you had some good reflection to do, and you actually did some great reflections. So on these last beautiful words, I wish you guys a beautiful rest of your day. Go enjoy the sun. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. That's not my quote. See you guys later.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys got great value from this. Make sure you go subscribe, leave a like, comment. Make sure you follow us on social media. See you in a week.
That's not my quote.
Good episode.
Yo, how long did we roll for?
I don't know.
Jesus.